In this video, we're going to take a look at writing the equation of a circle given some information about the circle. And this is going to be V4 from IXL in geometry. So let's take a look. Notice what they give us. Write the equation in standard form for a circle with a radius of 6 and centered at the origin. So the couple things I need to figure out here, my center is at 0, 0. And my radius is at 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start. Remember, my regular form is x minus h squared. So I'm going to start with some parentheses. X minus, now in this case, it's minus 0 squared. And then to use a little square, I'm going to hit that button right there. Plus, and then I'm going to do my y's. It's always a plus in between. Y minus 0 squared is equal to my radius squared, or equal to 6 squared, just like that. All right, it's going to be pretty simple here. We'll check that. Looks great. Okay, and we could keep on doing some. Now notice, on that last one we had x minus 0 squared and y minus 0 squared. That could have just been x squared and y squared, right? We don't have to write the minus 0 if it's just 0. But let's kind of jump up a level or two here. And let's take a look at some harder ones. All right, let's take a look at this one here. So notice the center is at 8, 5. So again, I'm going to do x minus 8 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to, now 8 root 2 squared. So if I think about 8 root 2, let me get my pen here, 8 root 2 times 8 root 2. Well, 8 times 8 is 64. Root 2 times root 2 is equal to 2. So this becomes 128. And so I can put 128 since I can't put a radical in. So what I'll do if it's not like a super easy number, like a 6 or something like that, I can always square it and then just put the actual value so I don't end up with any radicals. All right, so let's check this one here. All right, that looks good. All right, so now let's take a look at one where they're asking, yeah, let's look at one like this. This one's kind of a little bit wild. All right, so the first thing they do is they've got the center, so let's go ahead and put the center in, right? That's pretty easy. So I've got x minus 2 squared plus y minus 0 squared, or that's the same as y squared, is equal to my radius squared. Now notice, in this case, they don't give us a radius. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me kind of show you a trick here. If you don't have your radius, but you do have a point, now notice this is the center. It's very important that we keep track that that's the center, and this is a point on the line, or it passes through. So the center is what goes in here. That 2 comma 21 over 2 is not going to go over here because it's not the center, but I can use that to help me find the radius. Remember, the distance between the center and a point on my circle will be the radius. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to do our distance formula here. So 2 minus 2 squared plus 0 minus 21 over 2 squared. Now, if I'm looking at this 2 minus 2 squared, that's 0, and this becomes negative 21 over 2, or I could put this as 21 over 2 because it's going to go positive, right? Squared, and the square root of all that. Well, wait a second. That's just going to be 21 over 2. Okay? So notice, in this case, the distance, because my x values are the same, the distance actually just comes out to the distance between my y values, from 0 to 21 over 2. That's my radius there. So what I can do to write that out, I can either square it, or what I can do is I can, let's just write it out. Sorry, got an announcement about the custodians here. All right, so let's put this in parentheses. 21 over 2. We'll backspace this. All right, and we'll just go ahead and square that, and let's see if they like that. Yep, that'll work, okay? So just be on the lookout. Sometimes they try to get a little bit tricky. You can use your distance formula to find the radius. Let's see if there's any particularly harder ones. Okay, yeah, let's look at one like this. Okay, notice this case they've given us a diameter with endpoints of positive 1, 0, and negative 1, 0. So in this case, instead of giving us the center, what they did is they gave us a circle, and they gave us the diameter endpoints. Okay, so let's think about this. if my diameter endpoints are here and here, where would be my center? What would be right in between those two? So I could find the midpoint between 1, 0 and negative 1, 0. So if I think about what's directly in the middle of 1 and negative 1, that's going to be 0. In the middle of 0 and 0, it's also going to be 0. But we could also do our midpoint formula where we would add these guys together and set it up like this if we wanted to. So if you need to use your midpoint formula, say the numbers are a little bit harder, you could always do something like that. All right, so center's at 0, 0. My radius from 0, 0 to 1, 0 is going to be 1. So this is going to be x squared plus y squared is equal to 1 squared or equal to 1. So we'll type that out real quick. So I got x squared plus y squared is equal to 1 squared. And I could also just leave it as 1 because that's the same, right? All right, notice this one, same idea here, the 12 and negative 12. See if we need to go any further. All right, notice this one, same as before, okay? So those are some of the main tricks that you might see in this IXL, but largely you should be able to figure it out as you go. Do remember the center is going to be in between two endpoints. If you get two endpoints, just find the midpoint of those two, and you'll get the center of the circle. So that wraps up kind of our overview of this IXL V4 and writing the standard form of a circle.